Is the title of this video clickbait? Yeah, a little bit. Sorry. Do I think Stadia is imminently shutting down? No. But the news this week is definitely not a good look, given Google's track record with ventures which failed, became too expensive, or they just straight up got distracted and they left them to die. For a fun reminder, there is actually a website called Killed by Google, showing a timeline of 224 abandoned apps, services, or hardware from Google. So the big question is, will Stadia join that graveyard? So just to recap, this week we got the announcement that Google will be shutting down the company's own game studio, Stadia Games Entertainment, which Google promised would be delivering their own in-house AAA games. So what's the reason for shutting it down? Quite simply, it's money. It takes hundreds of millions of dollars to develop a game, and where Google had stated these would be AAA titles, that takes years and years of development. Exclusives is something that Stadia needs right now to convert conventional gamers into cloud gamers. A big enough game to convince you to sign up to the only service that lets you access that title. Quite frankly, the cloud gaming space is moving so quickly right now that delivering a AAA exclusive in like 5 years' time just wasn't going to be a viable game plan to push Stadia to that #1 spot. So, in Phil Harrison's words, creating best-in-class games from the ground up takes many years and significant investment, and the cost is going up exponentially. Given our focus on building on the proven technology of Stadia, as well as deepening our business partnerships, we've decided that we will not be investing further in bringing exclusive content from our internal development team, sg&e, beyond any near-term planned games. So without its own in-house games, Phil now describes the Stadia service as a technology platform for industry partners, which basically means they become the technology front for already established third-party publishers. It's been pretty evident that game sales on Stadia aren't going so well, a combination of unrealistic prices, low user base, and the inherent belief Stadia has instilled on us users: if you just wait, it will come to Stadia Pro. So Google isn't making the money from you, the players. Its new revenue driver needs to be third-party developers who are willing to pay to use Stadia as a conduit to buy and play their games. That in itself just concerns me. It seems reliant on the idea that publishers are falling over themselves to get their games on Stadia, where we've already seen the likes of Epic's Tim Sweeney say it wasn't worth their time and effort to port Fortnite over to Stadia due to the effort involved and currently low user base. Even evidenced by games arriving late to Stadia or not performing to the same standards as they do on other platforms, it's pretty clear porting games over to Stadia is not a simple process. So what does this mean for you, the Stadia players? Again, in the words of Phil Harrison, you can continue playing all of your games on Stadia and Stadia Pro, and we'll continue to bring new titles from third parties to the platform. We're committed to the future of cloud gaming, and we'll continue to do our part to drive this industry forward. Our goal remains focused on creating the best possible platform for gamers and technology for our partners, bringing these experiences to life for people everywhere. You gotta, dig through the PR bullshit to get what he's really saying. But with all of my previous pokes at Stadia, I still consider myself a Stadia fan. I've been a pro subscriber since day one. I praise the service when they do well, and I point out its problems as they occur. Unfortunately, those occurrences are somewhat frequent. But as a user, in terms of technology, I honestly believe Stadia currently sits shoulders above some of the other cloud gaming services in terms of graphical fidelity, streaming quality, and input latency. I have no desire to see this service shut down. Honestly, that could set back the entire cloud gaming industry, with other new potential services kind of looking at the business model and saying, well, if Google couldn't make it work, what chance do we have? And honestly, that just isn't the case. I believe games will go the exact same route as our movies and music libraries. People who were adamant they would always keep their DVDs and their Blu-rays and their CDs, you won't take them from me, are now undoubtedly Netflix and Spotify subscribers. So is there any upside to this news? Maybe, if you look really hard for a silver lining, really hard.
That's what she said.
So as we've already said, first-party AAA game development is an extremely expensive venture. So if said funds are now freed up for Stadia, could they be spent elsewhere? We've talked in the past about rumors of Stadia upgrading the hardware to support next-gen titles and ray tracing, and a capital injection could certainly speed that process along. And the end of their own studio doesn't exactly mean the end of exclusive titles on Stadia. We've already said exclusives is something that Stadia needs to draw a crowd, but waiting years and years for their own titles to be developed just wasn't going to cut it. So the exclusives Stadia has had so far have been somewhat lackluster. or very brief, with them being timed exclusives like Crater or Serious Sam. So could we see Google spending some of that development money to secure better and more permanent exclusive titles? However, I will rebuttal my own point to say it would have to be a pretty big title to coerce new players into the platform, and I'm not sure a studio who worked tirelessly for years on a title that big would be happy to limit its potential audience by making it exclusive to Stadia. I want to use the analogy kind of bolting it onto a sinking ship. But let's face it, it would take a lot of Google money to make that happen. Fully aware the entire subject of this video is highly controversial and bound to generate hate from Stadia fans, but I am absolutely interested in hearing your opinions on this news, good or bad. Let me know what you think this means for the future of Stadia in the comments down below. But if you enjoyed this video, you found it helpful, a like rating would be appreciated. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next video. Hope everyone's staying safe out there, and as always, I shall see you in the next one.